Welcome to the real world. My name is Cameron. This is Carson. We are so happy to be here. Happy that you are joining us. We're all about movies here.
That's right. We watch a lot of movies.
And we watch movies all the time. And so we thought it'd be fun to go back through our diary, Letterboxd. We are big Letterboxd users. And Letterboxd tracks all of the reviews you watch and you log.
Right.
Ratings, reviews, all of it's there. So we wanted to go through this past month.
That's right, the month of January.
January is over already.
We've got a little old. We've got a little new.
We're a month into 2025.
These aren't just the new releases, folks. These are the movies that we've just been watching on our free time.
Yep.
That we just kind of wanted to talk about and go through them. So how many movies did you watch this month?
I don't know. We'll have to count them up.
Because I only watched like 10 this month.
Oh, really? I watched a lot.
Yeah.
I watched a lot more than that.
I'm sure you watched a lot more than
so I'll go through a few of mine. We'll just go day by day.
Okay, great.
We'll go do it that way.
Awesome.
We're going to give you our thoughts on these. Some of them will be highly recommended. Some of them will be skip it. Don't watch it at all.
Sure.
And we'll try to let you know where they're streaming, if they are streaming as well.
Yeah.
So let's kick things off. First movie, beginning of the new year.
Yeah.
I watched Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got this on Blu-ray for Christmas. You know, I did the big Christmas haul video. If any of you watched that, got a lot of movies for Christmas, and this was one of the ones I wanted because I'm a big fan of Winnie the Pooh. Grew up on that.
Okay.
The original animated film.
Right.
The animated series on Disney Channel. The book.
Of course.
All of it.
Ewan McGregor.
So Ewan McGregor is a grown-up Christopher Robin.
Obi Kenobi
in this film
is Christopher Robin.
Yeah, and
this is
Mark
a great
Forster directed it. It's so good. It's a great family film. The whole family can enjoy it. But
and it's interesting because it kind of, at least from a marketing standpoint, was very much leaning toward like those heartfelt legacy sequels, like the Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah,
and those kind of movies that were really for the adults or the people who had grown up with. Because Winnie the Pooh is pretty old.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's been around
100 years.
For, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it seems like it's a movie that's kind of more adult-geared.
Sure.
But it's still got the gang.
The whole
there's still Tigger,
there.
There's still Eeyore, there's still Piglet.
They're still on a fun adventure.
Exactly.
You know, so the kids like it still. But,
honestly, if you want to talk about live-action Disney remakes, this is the way to do it.
100%. I totally agree. Don't just retread old ground.
Right.
Tell a new story with these legacy characters.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. So I highly recommend this. It looks great on Blu-ray. I'll do a review of the Blu-ray soon. But it's streaming on Disney Plus, so you can check this out. If you have Disney Plus, check it out. It's criminally underseen.
Sure.
A lot of people haven't seen it. They don't even know about it. Yeah. A lot of people. Kind of
the special effects are fantastic.
They really are. Oh yeah, the way they bring the characters to life is really magical.
Yeah.
So highly recommend Christopher Robin. I gave it 5 stars because to me, this is top notch when it comes to Disney. Like you said, legacy sequel, remake,
awesome,
new story, great characters. I relate to it a lot.
I agree. I recommend Christopher Robin as well, streaming on Disney Plus. But
check it out.
This is worth a buy, folks.
Oh yeah,
I think it's worth a buy.
It's definitely worth a buy.
I say get it on Blu-ray. It's worth having in the collection if you're a Winnie the Pooh fan.
Oh yeah.
I've grown up with Winnie the Pooh.
Yep.
I'm partial to one sweet loving bear to the other. Paddington is another great character, but Winnie the Pooh has always had my heart. I love Tigger and the Heffalump movie is my girlfriend's favorite.
And I watched the Jim Cummings podcast.
Oh, that's of course.
Is the voice of Winnie the Pooh and Tigger.
Yes.
In this film and pretty much everything since like 1985 or something.
He's terrific.
He's such a great actor.
So much wisdom in the long career he's had.
Yep.
He just has a lot of insight into. So if you're interested in voice acting or what goes into creating a character like that,
yes.
The Jim Cummings podcast, tuned in with Jim Cummings.
Yeah, that's it.
Is well worth watching
for sure. All right, so that was my first pick, January 1st. That's what I started 2025 off with.
Great, what a strong start.
Christopher Robin.
I didn't start watching anything until the 5th.
Okay, so I've got something on the 4th.
Okay, great.
I did a double feature.
Oh, boy.
I'm a big fan of
Westerns.
Westerns.
The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, baby.
No, that would have been a good one. I tried to watch a lot of my new movies. I got these 2 new Westerns.
Okay.
Well, old Westerns. New in my collection.
Sure.
Dodge City
Okay.
From 1939.
Interesting.
This stars Errol Flynn.
Really?
Who we all know as
Robin of Hood.
Robin Hood, Captain Blood.
Yes.
The Seahawk.
Yeah.
All these classic adventure movies that made back in the 30s and 40s.
Referenced in The Rocketeer, one of our favorite films.
Of course. And so Dodge City was his foray into the Western genre. Something he hadn't done yet.
That's really interesting. I didn't even realize that he was in a Western.
He was. And it's interesting because, of course, he has a British accent.
Does he use it?
Of course.
Oh.
They explain it by saying he was born in Ireland and raised in England.
Interesting.
And moved to America to start a new life.
Huh. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's different, which I like. So
great.
He's got his iconic, mustache, but he's got the hat and the frayed brown jacket and all of it. He's great in this.
Okay.
This is sort of, this is early days Western, right? This is the 30s.
Sure, yeah, 1930s.
This is before John Wayne even, or any of them.
Right.
So I guess John Wayne was just kind of starting out too. But
this was back in the actual Old West.
Pretty much.
This was just a regular movie.
Pretty much.
Just took place in
It was pretty close.
In regular life.
Right.
Back when Little House on the Prairie was just like any other regular show.
Right.
That's just how we lived.
That's it. So he does great in this. He's paired with his co-star from Robin Hood, The Adventures of Robin Hood, Olivia de Havilland.
Okay.
She's the love interest here.
Very cool.
So they're paired up again. They're
Hollywood,
great.
Early Hollywood, they always did that.
They had those two actors that would be together in everything.
We're going to create a pair of actors, and they're going to be our ones.
Yeah. And it's directed by Michael Curtiz, the man behind Casablanca. Okay. So this is like 3 years before he did Casablanca.
Okay.
He's a masterful director.
He is.
The film is... I was shocked by how exciting it was. A lot of older Westerns, like, they're good. Like, they have good stories. I like them a lot. The action isn't typically the best part.
That I think... you're talking about Errol Flynn's filmography is one of the things that I think holds up to today. Is his theatrical physicality.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And all of his
such a
roles.
physical actor. And he does a lot of physicality here.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of just crazy, like...
Is that a lot of...
Like, crazy stuff. Like, stuff that I totally wasn't expecting.
Great.
It's a big movie.
Very interesting.
It's all shot in Technicolor.
Are there a lot of, is there a lot of gunfighting, or is it more
There's not a ton of gunfighting. There are gunfights, for sure. It's got everything, though. It's got horse chases, gunfights, stampedes.
Okay.
It's pretty much everything that we know of as the Western.
Right.
It's pretty much all here, really. Which is kind of amazing. That they fit it all into one movie and it makes sense and it works.
Yeah.
I had a blast with it. I gave it 4.5 stars.
Awesome.
I think it's one of the best of the early Westerns I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out.
The Blu-ray's great. The same day, later that day, I watched another Western I got. It's in the Criterion Collection.
Oh boy. Prestigious place to be.
That's right. It's called The Gunfighter.
Oh, okay. Great.
This stars Gregory Peck, who I really like. He's a great actor.
Yep.
He did a couple other Westerns I like, The Big Country. But here he's playing a very interesting character. This is sort of the anti-Western, I feel like. So this is the 50s. This is after the 30s and 40s have kind of gone by.
The golden era.
50s, they kind of were almost like, in some ways, reinventing it. Not as much as the 60s and 70s.
Right, of course.
Like Clint Eastwood when they came into it. But this is a very different type of Western for that era.
Okay.
It's much more introspective.
Oh.
It's all character-based. It's all him. You're with him.
Okay.
He's waiting in this town.
Interesting.
He's kind of just sitting in this saloon waiting for something to happen, and all these characters are coming in.
Okay.
And he's got this reputation.
Mm.
And so all these young kids come in and they want to fight him. They want to prove that they're faster than he is. And so it's all about how he's trying to kind of leave his old life behind and start a new life. But his old life keeps coming back to him. And it's pretty much all one location.
Huh.
It's the town. You see other parts of the town, but mostly in this one saloon.
Okay.
Just characters talking to each other.
Good.
And it's really, really compelling.
Great.
It's a well-made film. Gregory Peck does great in it. His performance is great.
Sounds like the proto Unforgiven.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Sort of,
there's definitely some similarities.
Of its era, kind of the deconstruction of that genre.
Exactly.
That sounds interesting.
It is really good. It was definitely one of my favorites. I also gave that 4.5 stars. So
my first film of this year was one that I just missed out on last year. This is Juror number 2.
Oh, yes. Of
course. We did our best of 2024 list, and this would have made my list easily.
Absolutely.
Juror number 2, is fantastic. Directed by Clint Eastwood, who we were just talking about.
That's right.
He is a master filmmaker at 90 years old. Over 90.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Nicholas Hoult is the star of this movie, and he's just a rising star. I mean, he's just getting better in everything that I see him in. From Jack the Giant Slayer on. Yep. He's just impressed me. Totally. But Juror number 2 is essentially... It's like the postmodern answer to 12 Angry Men. Yeah. Where 12 Angry Men, they're very similar scenarios. Mm-hmm. It's a jury, and we're all off to decide, is this person innocent or guilty? Right. And in 12 Angry Men, there's one person who says, we should just talk about this. Right. Same situation here. Pretty much, yeah. Except where I think 12 Angry Men has kind of a optimistic, everybody gets justice. Is kind of like the uplifting lesson of that movie. Right. We saved a kid's life. Right. This is kind of the opposite of that.
What is justice?
This is...
What is truth?
What is justice? What is truth? Can something be true and unjust? Can you have justice with a lie? Yeah. It's like, it's so interesting. And this movie really has so many compelling layers. Yes. And the order in which things are revealed to you really unravel the story. Yep. In such a fascinating way. This is filmmaking, folks. Yeah, 100%. This is how movies should be. One
of the best of recent years.
It is just totally compelling and just a joy to watch. Yeah. I totally very well made. A very difficult situation, a very sympathetic character. Yeah. It's not very black and white. This movie.
No, it's one that makes you think. I still haven't stopped thinking about it.
Movies ought to make you think.
That's right.
As Mr. Arad has always said.
Right. So, great pick. Great movie. That was my number 1 of last year. Moving on to my next one, which was on January 5th. I watched 2 movies, rewatches. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. One of the best stop-motion films of all time.
Yes.
Brilliant film.
Fantastic.
The Criterion Edition. You can watch it on Netflix.
I believe it won an Oscar.
The Criterion Edition is great. It did win an Oscar.
For Best Animated Feature.
Well worth
well-deserved.
The win. Great movie. Still holds up. Still tons of fun. It's funny.
I can't wait to see
what... But it's dark and serious, too.
I can't wait to see what Guillermo does next.
Yeah. He's doing Frankenstein.
His is one of the 12, maybe 13 movies that have been animated and released on Criterion.
That's right.
I own all of them.
That's right. You do.
I have the full animated Criterion collection.
Yeah.
And it's just such a jewel to own, I think, in any collection.
I agree. The packaging's great, too.
The packaging's great, obviously, with that specific release. But, yeah, it's a movie that's definitely well worth the watch.
It's a great retelling of that story. It does not at all feel like any other version.
To me, it's the quintessential version of that story.
I agree.
Because it harkens back to the original text.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's terrific.
Great stuff.
Guillermo del Toro's interpretation of angels is always my favorite thing because they're just the most horrific things.
So great. Same day we watched The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We read this as a family.
Yes.
So the whole family got to watch it. The little ones for the first time.
That's awesome.
And they loved it. Loved every second of it. It's a great, great movie.
That's so great.
They've watched it probably 100 times since then.
If I could go back and watch that for the first time. This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
I would say this makes my top 4 favorite ever.
Oh, wow.
This is my favorite fantasy film.
Yeah.
I would say it's my favorite Disney film.
Sure.
It is my... It's one of
the best. It's a 5-star movie.
One of the most important movies to me.
Yeah.
As when I was a kid, I had... I don't know if you remember, I had a Prince Caspian themed birthday.
Yes, of course.
We went to the theater and saw it in theaters.
That's right.
I was very young.
Yeah.
But I've always loved that trilogy.
Yeah.
I think all 3 of those movies are great, and especially Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, the first one is the greatest.
It's
amazing.
Utterly phenomenal.
What they accomplished.
I get a lot of flack sometimes for saying I think it's the greatest fantasy movie ever because Lord of the Rings exists and so many other great films, but it stands alone so well.
Yep.
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, especially.
Yeah, for sure.
It's fantastic.
All right, so that was January 5th. Did you watch anything on the 6th?
Okay, on the 8th, I did.
Okay, let me do the 6th and 7th then real quick.
Okay.
I'll go through these quickly. On the 6th,
he watches a movie every day, folks. He's the Tom Cruise.
I'm like Tom Cruise. I watch a movie every day.
I watch a movie every day.
On the 6th, I watched Man Without a Star.
Another Western.
Starring one of my favorite actors of all time, Kirk Douglas. He's fantastic in every movie I've ever seen him in.
Doug.
He's so passionate. Such a passionate actor. He's got this tough masculinity, yet he's got this vulnerability. I mean, it's the perfect what you want every actor to have.
He's existential, yet so accessible.
Exactly. This is a good one. This is a solid Western. I gave this 4 stars. I think it was really well made.
Great.
Underseen. Kino Lorber put out the Blu-ray. They did a great job with it, as they always do.
Kino Lorber.
And it's good. It's one of those where he's got this kind of young mentee. You know,
cool.
He's mentoring throughout the film.
Great.
And they come to blows over a woman, you know, and all this. There's these cattle barons and all this. I mean, it's just like such a great Western. Has all these great hallmarks of it. It starts off on the train. It's a really cool train scene that it starts off with.
Awesome.
But great movie. Well worth watching.
Interesting. A lot of these Westerns you're referencing actually remind me of something I didn't necessarily watch, because it's not just a movie, it's a game. I just recently finished playing the first Red Dead Redemption game.
Oh, the first one. Oh, okay.
So Red Dead Redemption 2, I think it's probably the greatest game ever made.
Right.
But I had never played the first one, which is technically a sequel to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Gotcha.
Because 2 is a prequel.
It's a prequel, gotcha. Okay.
And yeah, a lot of influence from the types of movies you're talking about. Like that mentor-mentee mentality, the brotherhood, the action. Great, terrific series of games.
Good stuff. On the 7th, I watched Gentlemen Broncos. Is that the one you watched on the 8th?
Yes, on the 8th.
Because I thought that, because I told you about
Gentlemen Broncos, you did.
And the very next day, you didn't watch it.
That's right.
This movie's amazing.
It was fantastic.
It's so good.
We've got to talk about this, because this is maybe my favorite new movie I've seen this year so far. And it's not new.
Maybe.
It came out in, when was it, 2009? Director of Nacho Libre and Napoleon Dynamite.
That's right.
And soon, a Minecraft movie.
That's right.
He's also directed that.
Yeah.
Which they just announced a Minecraft movie Lego sets.
That's right.
They're pretty interesting looking.
That's right.
But Gentlemen Broncos. This is a film.
How do we even talk about
this? Is a film
Should we talk about it? We should just tell people go watch it.
If you're a fan of Nacho Libre, of Napoleon Dynamite, if you understand the kinds of movies that these are, these kinds of offbeat, quirky comedies.
But this one takes it to the next level, in my opinion.
Definitely. There's definitely a clear elevation of maturity with those 3 movies.
Right.
Whereas Nacho Libre, it's a movie that's like Star Wars for 12-year-olds.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's for kids.
For kids. Yeah.
But it's so heartwarming and wonderful. We love Nacho Libre. Right. Napoleon Dynamite's like for middle to early high schoolers.
Right.
Where it's like a very awkward phase. And you're trying to make friends, and you don't really know what you're doing, and everything's kind of weird and awkward.
Gentlemen Broncos is for late teens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Gentlemen Broncos is for now this is your senior year.
Yeah.
You know, what are you
becoming
an
adult?
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Right.
And it follows a young writer.
A young dreamer.
I won't spoil the whole plot, but a young writer who is homeschooled. Yeah. We love that. And he is enlisted in this program, this kind of summer camp thing. For young writers.
Right.
And he meets this very famous science fiction author who he's a big fan of.
Yeah.
And gives him his story. Right. And the story kind of unravels.
It's great. You got to go watch it. And it's got this other narrative that's going with it. Sam Rockwell's in it. Jennifer Coolidge is in it. It's got a great cast, and it's just so much fun to watch. It harkens back
a lot to 50s B sci-fi movies.
Yes.
It's kind of...
It's a weird movie. Most people would watch this and go, that's a weird movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And they probably wouldn't like it.
Sure.
So you probably won't like it.
That's definitely true.
We're warning you now.
Yeah.
But it's worth watching in case you're like us and you have our sensibilities.
Right.
And you like, again, if you like Nacho Libre, Napoleon Dynamite, it's in that vein, but it's different. It's a different thing.
That I think is a very important distinction to make. A lot of people will call this movie bad.
Yes.
They'll watch it. They'll see, bad special effects.
Right.
Oh, awkward character dialogue. Oh, bad acting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bad movie.
Right.
It's not a bad movie.
No, it's
going
all for something specific.
Very intentional.
Yes.
It is a weird movie.
Yeah, you probably won't like it. That's probably not your thing.
Sure. But it's not everybody's thing.
But
it's a weird movie.
They succeeded at what they were trying to accomplish.
Exactly. But it's very intentional. It's very intentionally... You're supposed to feel awkward when he vomits all over the floor.
Don't tell Bert that. He'll not watch it. That's his pet peeve.
Bert won't watch this film.
That's his pet peeve.
The special effects are terrible, Bert. You're going to hate it.
It's true. Let's move on. On the 8th, I
was watching another movie on the 8th. Sorry, we almost burned the house down earlier, so we're coughing like crazy.
Yeah.
I watched another film on the 8th.
Oh, double feature.
Okay.
Gentlemen Broncos and
Pharrell Williams' Piece by Piece.
Oh, interesting.
The Pharrell Williams documentary Lego film.
Biopic.
Oh yeah, biopic Lego movie. Yeah. It's basically a documentary.
But it's all Lego.
It's all Lego. Yeah.
It's all animated in Lego form.
And
tells the story of his life.
Yeah. Yeah, Pharrell Williams' life.
What a weird idea.
It's such a weird idea.
But I kind of love it.
It is
outside the box.
This movie, I was watching it.
I need to watch it.
I'm just trying to figure out who it's for.
Yeah.
Is this for kids who like the Lego movies?
I know exactly who it's for.
Pharrell Williams. Exactly.
Which is great. That's movies. Yeah. Directors should make movies for themselves.
Sure. I mean, he didn't direct it. Well, but
he produced it.
This is very much his movie.
Right.
It's such a fascinating experience. I would say to anyone who doesn't know how important Pharrell Williams was to music in the 2010s, you must see this.
Yeah. He's behind the scenes on a lot of stuff.
He was involved in so many legendary careers early on.
Right.
Because he was a producer for a very long time before he did his own music.
Right.
It's such an important piece of American pop culture that he was involved in. Mm-hmm. And I think the way that he weaves in it being a Lego movie and the theme of that really works for the story.
Right.
And it's very accessible. Yeah. I would say if this is your first biopic or your first documentary, perfect. This is a great entry point.
Cool.
You really get a feel for what these things are like. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun and very interesting. A lot of stuff I didn't know
to watch
about him.
I'll definitely be checking it out soon.
Yeah. It's going to be added to those Lego movies that people don't really watch.
Right. On the 8th, I watched The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. This is fun. This is a lot of fun.
Great.
Ray Harryhausen. We love
Harryhausen.
I mean, he's a pioneer.
Of course.
He's one of the early days of cinema.
Yep.
Special effects.
Oh yeah.
I mean, guys like Jim Henson, George Lucas look up to this guy.
Phil Tippett,
of course. Well worth watching. Tons of fun. Great sci-fi B movie from the 50s. Kind of almost like the quintessential sci-fi B movie from that era.
Yeah.
This great finale with the monster and this roller coaster and just great stuff.
This roller coaster.
Yeah. Well worth watching.
Roller coaster. I like the way you said roller coaster there. It's roller coaster. It's like some kind of
roller coaster.
Moadib Atreides. Your father was a weak man.
Let's go to the 9th.
Okay, let's see. I've got another. Let's see. On the 10th, I watched something on the 10th.
I watched something on the 9th.
Okay, what'd you watch on the 9th?
You still haven't seen this. We should put this on right now. This is so good.
Okay.
I can't wait for you to see this. Hundreds of Beavers.
Yes, I was very close to watching this last night.
Dude.
I almost watched it.
This makes a great group watch.
Yeah.
Silent film.
Mm-hmm.
Just made last year.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think it was made a few years ago. They just released it.
It looks like it was made in the 1920s.
Yeah.
It's all black and white.
All Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton stuff. I mean, it's slapstick to the nth degree.
Yeah.
It is. I was first watching, I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this.
Yeah.
I was watching it, and I got so into it. I got so into the story.
Really?
The characters.
Good.
I loved it.
Now, is it
silly? It's super silly.
Is it a silent film in the sense that text appears when they speak?
No. There's sound effects. So I shouldn't say it's silent necessarily.
Okay.
There's sound effects.
Piano music. There's noises. The characters look, kind of like Charlie Brown. Okay.
Mumbling.
Okay, like a
kind
Popeye,
of stuff.
like a Popeye cartoon.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
It's fun though. It's really well done. It's super low budget.
Okay.
It was all made in Michigan, out in the snow.
Great.
But yeah,
I love it.
Just go watch it. Just put it on.
I definitely want to see it.
Just vibe with it. It's one of those movies you got to just because again, we're so not used to silent era films anymore.
Yeah.
I've had a hard time going back and watching silent films.
Definitely.
But this somehow it made it work for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was really, but
well, it's really interesting that someone in the modern landscape of cinema would go back to something like that.
Right.
So I'd be really curious to see the way that they adapted that way of filmmaking for a modern audience.
Yeah, it's really cool. All right, what did you watch on the 10th?
I watched U2's Rattle Hum.
Oh,
the concert film. It's a little more than a concert movie. It's a movie about music. U2, I think, is our collective favorite band ever.
100%.
Fantastic. The Joshua Tree album, I think, is the greatest album ever written.
Yep.
And this is all about them performing that album. Yeah. So it's just a series of the band talking about something that happened in their life, or some experience they had, or somewhere they went that influenced part of the writing of this music.
Yeah.
So many excellent moments. Yeah. So many great just like band moments where you can tell they're just kind of jamming and hanging out and laughing. And there are also some great like hugely like revealing and inspiring moments. Yeah. Like there's a scene where Bono's talking to B.B. King.
Yeah. Oh,
and B.B. King's legendary. Oh, he's a legendary artist. And they're talking about the lyrics to one of their songs, and
When Love Comes to Town.
When Love Comes to Town.
Yeah.
And it's just a fascinating breakdown of kind of what it is and what it's saying. And they do that for a couple songs. My favorite is Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For.
Yeah.
Because in the movie they go to this gospel choir in the Bronx.
Right, that's right.
And they play it to this choir, and it's a totally different breakdown of the song.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so good. Yeah,
it is. Great stuff.
It's very, very fun.
I gotta watch it again. It's been a while since I've seen
it. Very
it.
visual as well, very cinematic.
Yes, for sure. On the 11th, I watched 2 movies.
Okay.
It's probably a Saturday. Usually on Saturdays I get to do double features.
Okay.
The Long Riders. Have you seen this yet?
No.
The Long Riders is about Jesse James, the James Younger gang, actually.
Okay.
And the James Younger gang was made up of sets of brothers. The actors are all brothers.
Oh.
So they got like 4 sets of brothers to play these real-life brothers.
Interesting.
So
real-life brothers.
Real-life brothers playing real-life brothers. In a movie about real-life brothers. It's tons of fun. It's really well done. Walter Hill, Streets of Fire, one of
Walter
our
Hobbs, famous writer for Hamilton children's books.
No. Hobbs and Son.
Of course. The author of Elf.
No, Walter Hill, one of our favorite directors.
Okay.
Streets of Fire.
Of course.
The Warriors.
Yep.
Done a lot of great movies. He directed this in 1980.
Is he still alive?
I think he is, actually.
Hey, give us those Streets of Fire. Give us those Streets of Fire sequels.
Why not? So that was great. That's one of my favorite westerns. It's just excellent. Very well made. Very realistic, grounded, gritty.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Very cool.
The Mission was the other film I watched that day.
Oh.
This is a harrowing, true story about this tribe in South America who are visited by missionaries.
Oh, okay, cool.
From the Catholic Church.
Interesting.
And Jeremy Irons plays the missionary who's kind of heading up this mission there.
Right.
And then he comes into contact with
Rambo.
Robert
John Rambo.
Close. Pretty close. Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro.
Plays a mercenary.
Oh, interesting.
And
it sounds a lot like Rambo 4.
It kind of is. And so they get connected. I'm not going to give it all away, but they get connected, and all of this crazy stuff unfolds in the jungles of South America. It's all shot on location.
It's the most egregiously violent thing you've ever seen. That's great.
Not necessarily, but
I love it.
It's a great film. It's another one that has great themes.
Okay, cool.
Makes you think. So it's good stuff.
What does it make you think about?
Right, exactly. All right, that's the 11th. I didn't watch anything until the 16th. So what do you got after the 10th or 11th?
I don't have anything until the 12th.
Okay, give me the 12th.
The 12th I watch a film that I do not recommend.
Oh.
A movie that... this was actually a double feature as well. The second film was good, but the first one was Never Been Kissed. The Drew Barrymore romantic comedy.
Right. You were telling me about this, yeah.
And this was a nauseating experience.
Yikes.
It was honestly like I felt sick while I was watching it.
Oh no.
Because it is so not a musical. It's clearly trying to be a musical. Mm-hmm. It's very colorful.
Yeah.
The performances are very theatrical.
Yeah.
And at any moment,
they're supposed to break out in the song.
They could break out in song. I'm waiting for it. The whole movie, I'm just anticipating this. And it's not a musical.
Never happens.
It's just a very awkward and kind of clumsy movie. It feels so bizarre. That it's really hard to describe because it is so like you'll be watching a scene and you'll just completely lose the thread of continuity and not even realize what you're there for or what this is even what are we doing here? What is this about?
It's too bad.
It's just crazy. Yeah, but the way that it devolves and unravels into just this crazy, weird, and also very generic. It's also very by the numbers.
Yeah, you can guess the whole thing
for this.
Yeah,
but that's exactly the kind of plot you would expect from a musical.
Yes. Right.
Oh, we're gonna play it very straight. It's gonna be very by the numbers, so that when we bust into song, it's exciting.
Yeah.
But when you never do that, it's just boring.
Too bad. Well, I watched a great one on the 16th.
Okay.
Well, do you have anything until the 16th?
Well, I watched another film right afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Because I watched it with Gracie, and I was like, you know what would make a great double feature with this is Scream.
Oh yeah.
So we watched Scream.
Yeah. Okay.
Because Drew Barrymore's in it, and it's another one of those movies that has a very simple structure, very simple plot.
Right.
But unlike Never Been Kissed, it leans into its genre and into the expectations of the audience.
Right.
And subverts the tropes of the genre in fun ways. Sure. And leans into some other ones. I think Scream's a fantastic movie.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
And yeah, it just it was refreshing to watch a great movie like that.
Good.
With Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
I watched another Drew Barrymore movie actually later on. We'll talk about in a minute.
On the 16th, I watched The Wind Rises.
Is this the beginning of your aviation movie research?
Sure is.
Good start. Strong start.
The Aviation Podcast is on the channel now.
Yes.
Go click on it and check it out. But yeah, this is a great one. Studio Ghibli.
Of course.
Hayao Miyazaki.
Yep.
The master. I mean, he's the best, right, when it comes to animation. No one's better. I mean, it's stunning to see what he's able to accomplish in these films. This is one of those that, unlike Spirited Away or My Neighbor Totoro, doesn't have any fantasy elements at all. It's completely grounded in reality. There's a couple of dream sequences, where things get a little weird.
Sure.
But it's a story about a guy who wants to become an aviation engineer. And he accomplishes
his dream. And unfortunately, it's during World War II.
Exactly. And he's in Japan.
He's in Japan.
And so, but it's really more about his relationship with this young woman he meets and their romance as it develops, and his best friend and their relationship as that develops.
Definitely.
It's so well done. It's more of an adult drama. I talked about this, and I just put out a Blu-ray review.
Right.
And I'm talking about that, how it's more of a... I think it's actually rated PG-13. But it's not because kids can't watch it. There's a couple of disturbing images.
It's just a very mature story.
Correct.
Kind of about this heartbreaking relationship that's going on.
During this difficult time.
Very difficult time,
and all that. So definitely worth checking out. It's one of those Studio Ghibli movies that doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
Sure.
I'm glad we're raising some awareness here.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Definitely feels like kind of the magnum opus of Miyazaki of kind of what... When you strip away all the fantastical elements of his work, and you just bare bones tell a story about people, this is kind of, I think, what is at the heart of most of his movies.
Yeah. He does
the love of the spirit of freedom, and the love that flying is able to give you. So very very interesting film. I strongly recommend.
All right, what do you got next?
Next for me, I have another aviation film.
Oh.
It's Always.
Oh, yes.
Stevie Spielberg.
Yeah, you got one Spielberg up on me.
That's right.
But hey, I've still got 1941.
You have 1941, which you can keep. Always.
You got to see this.
Always
to watch it. I gotta watch Always, and I think there's one other one. I can't remember what it is, but
Always is 1989.
Yep.
So it's just like peak Spielberg.
Same year as Last Crusade. Right. He did both movies in 1 year.
Really? I guess I didn't realize that.
He did Schindler's List and Jurassic Park in the same year too.
Wow, that's a difficult task to balance those films.
I know.
But Always is a very classic movie. It's a very classically shot and acted, and it's a very classical film premise.
Yeah.
It's kind of like It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
It's a very kind of Jimmy Stewart, heartwarming sort of love story that has a twist.
Yeah.
It has almost, not necessarily a time travel twist, but sort of a fantastical twist to it. It is so well acted. Holly Hunter, she is just
so good.
An absolute jewel. I've never disliked her in anything she's been in. I think she's just totally awesome. John Goodman is in this as well.
Yeah.
He's a great he's the buddy.
Okay.
And he's such a great buddy. Yeah. He's always a great buddy, I think, in everything that he's done.
Sure.
Other than 10 Cloverfield Lane, he's a terrible buddy in that.
Richard Dreyfuss.
And Richard Dreyfuss
is the lead.
And it's probably my favorite I've ever seen Richard Dreyfuss.
Okay.
I haven't always loved him in everything that he's in. He has kind of a weird. He has almost that Chevy Chase quality of like, I like laughing at him. I don't necessarily like him very much.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But in this, he leans into the kind of arrogance, so into the unlikability a little bit, but in a way that makes it fun because Holly Hunter likes him.
Okay.
So yeah, the way that his character develops and it's really a story about closure. So seeing him come to terms with everything is really satisfying.
I can't wait to watch it.
So I gotta say just before we're done, the aerial sequences in Always are shot on rear projection. They're shot like classic, like 50s movies, like actual World War II,
right,
like action movies would be shot.
Sure.
And I understand why people maybe wouldn't like that, but for the tone and for the story, it totally works.
Right.
There's also one of the most like violent flying sequences I've ever seen.
Oh wow!
Like it's just like it's Holly Hunter, and it's just like very intense.
Okay. Well, it's on the watch list. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, definitely watch it.
On the 17th, I watched Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
This is a film I look back on fondly.
I thought it held up well.
Is that correct?
Should I do that? Great. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Tons of fun.
Good.
It's tons of fun. It was made in that era of 300 and, all these movies that were shot on blue screen.
Sin City, yeah.
Yeah, Sin City.
The Star Wars prequels.
Right, exactly. But it's got that classic feel of a 1930s serial, and the acting style matches that. Like everything about it.
Exactly.
They're able to make this comic book world.
Exactly. I was just about to say it's like watching a Max Fleischer cartoon.
Yeah, it is 100%. You got the giant robots and all that. It's great. Jude Law, great in it. Gwyneth Paltrow playing this, peppy news reporter. It's great.
Really, Gwyneth
It's great.
Paltrow?
It's tons of fun. Yep. Sure is. Yeah, she is. She's Polly Perkins, reporter.
That's right.
It's tons of fun. It's well worth watching if you're into that type of thing. If you don't like that tone, like Rocketeer, Indiana Jones.
Sure.
But even more, kind of silly, even more like big and fantastical because it's very sci-fi,
right? Right.
And
if I recall, I haven't seen this movie in a while.
Yeah.
But its tone it takes itself very seriously.
Oh yeah.
It's not like everything's a joke. Like in Rocketeer, it's funny,
right?
Because he's a silly guy.
Yeah.
And he has a rocket on his back.
This is Sky Captain. He's the real hero. He's here to save the day.
Right.
He means business
against a serious threat.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's tons of fun. That was the 17th. The 18th. Where are you at? I'm on the 18th.
My next one is on the 20th.
Okay,
27th, actually.
So let me jump through these pretty quick. I'll just do rapid fire.
Okay.
18th, Only Angels Have Wings.
Classic.
One of the best Howard Hawks films.
Yep.
Cary Grant, Jean Arthur, great in that. Classic film. Flyboys.
Yeah, another good one.
World War I. This held up really well. I actually like this more than I remembered it.
Good.
I think they do a great job with the cast. The cast play off each other really well.
Yep.
And they get into their backstories a little bit. It's really well done. Then, not quite as good as I remembered, Red Tails.
Red Tails, yeah.
Yeah, it's very Flyboys-esque, but they don't get into the characters enough. I don't feel it. It's literally set up basically the exact same way.
Really?
It's like these guys get there. They've got it. It's funny because Flyboys, you're with James Franco as the new guy coming into this group.
Right.
They do the same thing in Red Tails. It's Michael B. Jordan. Mm-hmm. He comes in and he's like, hey, I'm the new guy.
Right.
And then he's relegated to the background of the rest of the movie. It's the weirdest thing.
That's bizarre.
I don't get why they did it.
Yeah, I've only seen that movie once, and I just remember watching it and saying, is that an X-Wing?
Right.
Because it's shot like the action scenes are just like Star Wars.
Lucasfilm. Yeah. Lucasfilm produced it, and ILM did all the special effects. The effects the dog fights are incredible. That's why to watch. That's why I couldn't give it a negative review, because those scenes are so good.
Right.
But the story and characters just don't hold up quite as well, especially having watched Flyboys, where they just nailed it. The romance just nailed it. Mm-hmm. Red Tails fell flat. So that's for that. My next one was Memphis Belle.
Oh, great. We got to talk about Memphis Belle.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, awesome.
Such a good cast. The cast kind of makes this movie, in my opinion. It's all about them. It's all about these guys that are this bomber. And
I love that set.
So rare.
Yeah, I love that.
We don't get any bomber movies. It's all about dogfights and fighter jets and all. A bomber. These guys, they were integral to the war.
Yeah, totally.
Man,
what I love that set. I love
claustrophobic.
It's almost like that movie Fury. When they're in the tank.
Or like a sub movie.
But it's even more scary because they're in the air.
Yes, exactly. Right.
They're just like, oh man, it's such a good movie.
It's great. Great character dynamics. Great direction. Edited very well.
Yeah.
Exciting, intense, funny. I like that we start on the ground with them, getting to know them.
Right.
At the little party,
Yeah.
And then this is their last mission. They can go home after this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot on the line here. And it's really well done. Very well made film. Huge fan of that. I thought it was great. Next, I did a documentary.
Okay.
Living in the Age of Airplanes. National Geographic. Narrated by Harrison Ford.
This is one of my favorite documentaries ever.
Shot across all 7 continents.
Yeah.
That's a huge undertaking. To go to Antarctica and, literally every continent.
Yeah.
Amazing. Very well done. Really highly recommend that. It's only 45 minutes, so it's easy to watch. Mm-hmm. I thought that was well done. Another documentary, Flying the Feathered Edge. The Bob Hoover Project. Excellent movie.
Yeah.
This is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen.
It's very, very
I'm not kidding. It is so well done. When you learn about what this guy accomplished in his life.
Yeah, it's excellent.
It's shocking.
Isn't that great?
It's like, how have I never heard of this guy?
I know.
He did so many important and amazing... They need to make a movie about him.
Definitely. Yeah.
It is shocking. Another one with Harrison Ford, where he's featured in several interviews.
Such a great personality.
Yeah.
I loved hearing about him at all the air shows, and
I love that they did it while he was alive too. They got to interview him. He was like 92, I think, when they shot it.
Harrison Ford actually spoke to him.
Yeah,
which is so funny.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Highly recommend that if you can find it. I love
that documentary as well.
Strategic Air Command.
This is one I haven't seen.
You should watch it.
I want to.
This was back in the 50s. It was Jimmy Stewart, who was a bomber pilot in World War II.
Right.
And so it's a very personal film for him. Anthony Mann directed it. They worked together on several films throughout their careers. And it's a solid movie. It really shows the family life, the domestic life, and the military life of this guy who's kind of pulled back in after the war to become this, basically a test pilot and kind of head up this whole new division of the Air Force. So very well done. Solid movie.
Awesome.
Definitely worth checking out, especially if you're a fan of Jimmy Stewart.
Very cool.
Then I watched one that I didn't think was great. It's called Battle of Britain. A lot of people like this movie.
Okay.
It's an old movie from the 60s, I think.
Sure.
And I can't fault it too much because the goal of the film is to recreate the Battle of Britain. Accurately.
Yeah.
And showcase the German side, the British side, what went down, what happened there. It's not concerned at all about character, story.
So it's like a Chris Nolan film.
Kind of, in some ways, I guess.
Like Dunkirk.
It's like Dunkirk, but less interesting. That's what I would say. Now, I will say, there are some great aerial sequences, and they're real aerial sequences, real airplanes in the sky flying.
That's always so exciting.
That's always great to watch, and there's quite a bit of it. So if you're into that, you're going to get a lot out of this. I would have rather there been a little bit more story, especially with the great actors they had.
Yeah.
Robert Shaw, Michael Caine, Christopher Plummer. It's a great cast.
Yeah,
so
it's a great cast.
I was a little disappointed in it, but aviation fans, no doubt, are going to get a lot out of it.
Michael Caine, boring story. My ears are ringing.
Nolan's favorite film.
Did Nolan direct this?
So last one I watched for the aviation prep was a film called 7500.
I've never even heard of this.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is a great film. Tense. Extremely tense.
Okay, cool.
He's a co-pilot.
He's a crop duster. And he always wanted to be a racing plane.
I didn't get to watch... Actually, I did have planes on.
I actually like planes, I think.
Yeah, planes is fun. No, he's a co-pilot of a commercial airliner.
Okay.
And it gets hijacked. And the whole film...
This sounds like one of Bert's picks.
It was.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh.
We talked about it on the podcast.
Okay, great.
The whole film is shot in the cockpit. The camera never leaves the cockpit. The whole movie.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
But
interesting.
it's riveting. Oh man.
Really?
His performance. It's the best performance. It's up there with Looper. I still think Looper might be his best, but this is an all-time great performance.
Great.
From Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Awesome.
All the performances are great. The editing, the way it's shot, the writing. I mean, everything about it is top notch.
Awesome. 7,500.
7,500 on Prime. You can watch this on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh, great.
Check it out.
Awesome.
It came out back in like 2019.
Okay.
It went way under the radar because it was direct to streaming.
Yeah.
You know, it got no theatrical release.
Well, over the radar.
Exactly. All right, so I'm on the 25th. What was your next one on the 27th?
27th, I have one.
Okay, let me do the 26th then real quick. Escape from New York.
Great.
I got the 4K.
Oh, great.
For Christmas.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite
movies. One of Dad's favorite movies.
We
actually just watched it recently because he wanted to show Caden.
I could watch it every day. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
What a great character. Kurt Russell has never been better as Snake Plissken, right? And Ernest Borgnine as Cabby. I mean, the characters are just great. They're so memorable.
Yeah.
The dialogue, the action. This is all shot like it feels very gritty. Like it's very low budget. It was like John Carpenter's third or fourth movie. Mm-hmm. Shot on location at night. You know, it's all dark shadows. Yeah. It's just got a great mood. I love the mood of the film.
Yeah.
The score. You know, Carpenter's synthy score.
Right.
80s synth. You know, it's like it's so singularly one thing.
Right.
And there's nothing else like it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's one of those movies.
Even the sequel is nothing like it.
I've never seen the sequel. I never will. Don't want to. All right, 27th. Go.
Okay. On the 27th of January, I watched The Wedding Singer.
Oh, that's one of my favorite Adam Sandler films.
Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore.
So funny.
I don't know why I watched so many Drew Barrymore
I
movies
know, right?
Week. I don't even like Drew Barrymore very much. I mean, I think she's fine.
I think she's
my favorite
awesome.
movie she's ever been in was Curious George.
Yes.
But Wedding Singer was good. I actually really liked Wedding Singer. I remember watching it when I was very young. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really remember like the story. Mm-hmm. But it was terrific. I mean, this movie is like color theory 101.
Oh yeah.
Like if you want to know like
time.
what does color matter in a story like this? It's like everything. Like the tones and the hues.
Yeah.
And the way that the colors change throughout the movie.
And
the things characters are wearing determines how they're feeling.
Yep. That's the thing.
Whose alignment they're in.
It doesn't just fit the era of the 80s.
Right.
It fits the characters, the tone, the story.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's very well done on the visual level. I mean, it's kind of impressive, honestly for a comedy.
Adam Sandler, a young Adam Sandler. Mm-hmm. This is one of a young Adam Sandler's best performances.
Yes,
I mean, next to Punch Drunk Love, which he did
a few years later.
A few years later, but
yeah.
Because he nails the comedy here, and he also nails the like being very depressed and really angry.
Oh yeah.
But thankfully, he doesn't only do anger. he doesn't only do I'm angry and yelling. He actually does a lot of
it feels like a real character.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a caricature.
Definitely.
Like Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison. These don't feel like real people.
Right.
This guy feels like a real guy. Robbie Hart. I love that character.
Mm-hmm. Very endearing character.
Endearing. Yeah. I love all the supporting cast. Many of whom he's used over and over again throughout his career.
Another film that takes place on a plane. The last
plane scene is great. It's a great plane scene, I will say. Nobody talks to Billy Idol that way.
It's very funny. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Adam Sandler.
It's one of my favorites.
Adam Sandler is very underrated. He does a lot of trash.
Yes.
But it's only because he shares a quality with a lead actor to the next film I'm going to talk about, which I watched on the 30th. Did you have anything on the 30th?
No. I got some on the 27th, though.
Okay,
Same day you watched Wedding Singer, I watched The Bourne Supremacy.
Oh.
Pretty much the polar opposite of The Wedding Singer.
Yeah. Very serious film.
Yes.
Nothing's funny about it.
No, not really. It's intense. This might be the best Bourne movie.
Really?
You've
always said Ultimatum's the best.
I've always said Ultimatum, but I'm thinking now, I'm like... This story, I don't know why I never connected with the story, but it's the best story they told in any of those movies.
This is the one I remember the least about.
You got to rewatch it.
I've seen the first one maybe like 4 times.
Because this one really stands alone well. First of all, I like that about it.
Okay.
He's in hiding. He's pulled out of hiding. This tragic event occurs, and he's out for revenge. Basically, he's going after the people who...
My favorite Jason Bourne movie is the Universal show. The show at Universal.
Oh, the stunt show?
The stunt spectacular at Universal.
Yeah, the theme park.
That's quite the experience at Universal Studios Orlando.
Can't wait to try it.
Anyways, Bourne Supremacy.
Bourne Supremacy is great. It's just... he starts having these memories of this thing he did, and it becomes all about... basically his redemption. His, him figuring out how to make this right. This thing that he did that was bad.
Yeah.
That he now wants to make it right.
Yeah.
And it's so emotional.
Great.
And I don't know why that never resonated before.
Interesting.
It's very interesting when I rewatch this. That's why you should rewatch movies, folks.
That's
because
right.
You'll come away with a different perspective.
Especially because there aren't many great movies now.
Right.
That are new.
Right.
You've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
So when you watch a movie you've seen once or that you haven't seen in a long time, it almost becomes a new movie.
It does, because you've changed so much since you've last seen it.
Right.
That it's basically like a whole new movie.
Yeah.
That's
why I watch RR every year.
Right.
And it only gets better.
Exactly. So Bourne Supremacy, I don't know. I was just blown away by it. The reason I watched it is because my wife watched Identity a few nights ago. Right. And I caught the tail end of it. I was like, oh, this is a great movie. Mm-hmm. I want to watch the second one now. And so I watched it and I was like, wow, this is incredible.
Awesome. Great.
Now, the 29th, you had the 30th? That was your last
30th.
one?
I have the last day.
29th, I watched The Fall Guy.
Fall Guy.
This movie's awesome. I bumped it way up in my rankings.
Yeah.
I think it is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
It strikes exactly the right tone that you want for this type of movie that gets a little meta, but not too meta. It's not too, it's not fourth wall breaky necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun. Tone is such a hard thing to get when you're doing with comedy, but you want the romance to be real and work, and you want the action to be intense and exciting and dangerous. They just nail it across the board. They nail it. Ryan Gosling, one of my favorites. Emily Blunt, she's fantastic. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Winston Duke, all the actors do a great job. Jason Momoa is a great cameo. They all do a great job. David Leitch, he's a director I'm really excited about to see whatever he does next.
Sure.
Because starting with John Wick, everything he's done since then, I've liked. I haven't liked everything a lot, but this is one of his best, I think.
Great.
I hope he keeps
doing
I'm
definitely interested in seeing what he does, too. Very interested in him being the first director to ever win Best Stunts.
Yeah, at the Oscars.
Which is a category that still doesn't exist.
I know. Holding out hope. One day.
I guess the director wouldn't really win that award anyways. He'd be the stunt choreographer.
Yeah. All right, what do you got? What's your last one?
Okay, so last one, I talked about Adam Sandler and The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
And about how he's an actor that gets a lot of flack because he does a lot of work.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of stuff, and not all of it's very good.
Sure.
This actor shares that quality. It's Nicolas Cage in Pig.
Yes.
So we love Pig.
Pig is fantastic.
Pig is probably my favorite Nicolas Cage movie.
Wow.
Probably.
It's up there for me. I mean, it's easily in the top 5.
I'm pretty sure it's my favorite of his.
Wow.
Pig is just, it's a film that just breaks me down every time I watch it.
Right.
It's very emotional. It's very sad.
Yes.
But it's also, it breaks you down so that it can build you back up.
Yes.
It's a film that is basically, the best way I've found to describe it to people is, imagine John Wick, but instead of him killing people the whole movie, he wins every fight with empathy.
Yeah.
So he like empathizes with people.
Right.
And
they don't
kind
fight
of
anymore. Yeah.
explains to them like and asks them questions and like it's so interesting. There's so many great scenes. It's so well shot. So well acted. Just very, very emotional. It really takes its time with every moment and builds in such a strong way.
Right.
Kind of unravels itself like all good movies should. And I watched a great behind the scenes featurette because I've bought this movie physically. I finally own it.
Right.
The behind the scenes features are very limited. It's just like a couple deleted scenes and stuff.
Right.
But there is one cooking with Nicolas Cage. And it's basically, it's all behind the scenes, but it's him in an actual like restaurant.
Right.
Restaurant kitchen with a professional chef.
Okay.
And he says, okay, we're going to teach you how to make a mushroom tart. And Nicolas Cage is like, all right, let's do this.
The mushroom tart!
And they're making the mushroom tart, and he's like, this is a lot like when I'm piecing together a character. When I'm crafting a story, there's a lot of emotion that goes into this process. And they're just talking about the process of creating art and what it's like, and
it's great.
How cooking and filmmaking really are very similar.
A lot of ingredients.
A lot of ingredients. I mean, we love cooking movies.
Hey.
Pig is a cooking movie. Chef is a cooking movie. Ratatouille.
You don't want too many cooks in the kitchen.
That's true.
Whenever you're making a movie
That's
or
true.
food.
That was the problem with Deadpool versus Wolverine.
That's right.
But yeah, Pig was excellent.
Yeah. Great movie.
Glad
you own it.
To me, I can't see giving it less than 5 stars.
Yeah. It's a great film.
Yeah.
Highly recommend Pig if you can find it. I think it's
not streaming anywhere anymore. I had to buy it.
Really?
I had to buy it.
Oh, I thought it was on Hulu.
It was on Hulu for a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think it's there anymore.
Interesting.
But worth a buy.
Yeah, for sure. If you're a Nick Cage fan, it's a must-see. I mean,
definitely.
It's like you said, one of his best for sure.
Yeah. So what Punch Drunk Love was to Adam Sandler, this is to Nicolas Cage.
Well, that's our recommendations, folks. Let us know what you watched this month. We want to have a conversation with you about it in the comments below. Of all these movies we mentioned, which ones sound the most intriguing to you? Which ones are you going to go watch? Check them out if they're on streaming. A lot of them are on Blu-ray or DVD or 4K, even some of them. You can, of course, get them digitally as well. So, let us know in the comments down below. We want to have a conversation with you. Hopefully you like this video. This is a new thing for us, going through our Letterboxd Diary and giving you some recommendations. So hopefully you like it. If you want more videos like this, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. And we'll see you next time right here on The Real World.
It's just there's something very sensual about creating a mushroom tart. It's like you're crafting this material that somebody's going to ingest in their body, and it's just a very intimate experience.
With film they ingested in their soul.
With film they ingested through their eyes and ears, straight into their soul, into their mind.